What to post on LinkedIn? What if no one reads the post? Or what if people read it and hate it? What if it goes viral because it's so bad? Stop! You can create amazing posts. We're going to talk about the posts you can do right now so you can rock it on LinkedIn. You have to first understand there are two different parts to a post to strategize. There's what you say, which is the topic, and there's how you say it, which is the format of the post. Like, for instance, will it be a video or a poll or a text plus image? We're going to cover both the what and the how. But here's the caveat. From my experience, what you say is way more important than how you say it. That might not apply to the rest of the world, but applies on LinkedIn. For instance, let's just say someone posts on LinkedIn what they ate at a business lunch. Today I feasted on a classic tuna sandwich with albacore straight from the can. Creamy mayo, crisp lettuce, and fresh tomato provided the perfect crunch and zest. This sandwich transported me back to the basics of culinary delight. Emoji, #tuna lunch. So yes, this post uses video, which is one of the winningest formats on LinkedIn, but no one cares what this person ate for lunch. This topic would flop like a tuna fish out of water. On the other hand, what if you had awesome topics, but used the simplest format known to mankind, which is straight text? No video, no images, no links, just text. Well, that's exactly what Alan Dibb posts all the time for his 12,000 plus followers on LinkedIn, and it works. His focus is the topic. So what are the topics that work on LinkedIn? The topics can be broken down into two categories. The first one being educational. At least 80% of your content should teach your audience something. That's because the main reason why people read posts on the LinkedIn newsfeed to begin with is to learn something. And LinkedIn knows this. So when LinkedIn sees you have a post that teaches something, it's going to be delivered to way more news feeds than any other type of post you could do. So the first educational post we're going to talk about is sharing your insights or interesting facts about a hot industry trend. Now, you could obviously guess what these trends are in your industry, and believe me, I've done that in my own industry many times. But why not use a trend spotting website that gathers all the data out there and delivers it to you in a nice, neat package? Because numbers don't lie. Now, if you're a regular to this channel, you know I've recommended Google Trends before because it works pretty well and it's free. So let's say I want to find out what's on people's minds about LinkedIn because that's my industry. And on Google Trends, I find that 3 of the top rising trends, in other words, what people are searching for more and more about LinkedIn, have to do with LinkedIn Premium. Okay, so I should be posting about LinkedIn Premium, and that's fine, except what exactly should I be posting about LinkedIn Premium? Now, there are like a million ways to figure this out, and let me show you my new favorite. Do a regular Google search, and for me, I'll do one on LinkedIn Premium, and then scroll down to People Also Ask. According to Google, these are the top questions people are asking in that topic in a search. So when you create posts that answer these questions, your audience will be like,
OMG, you're totally reading my mind.
Now, when you collect these subtopics, you want to create individual posts about each one that are spread out over time. For instance, instead of having one huge post that covers all this stuff, because that would be a really long post, I could instead have one post about the costs, another later on if LinkedIn Premium is worth it, another later on if there's a way to get LinkedIn Premium for free. And I didn't even know about this Amazon thing here. That is interesting. Now, obviously, those are just a few questions that your audience is asking, but as you start creating these subtopics, more are going to come to mind and it's going to get your juices flowing. Like for me, I could have other subtopics like the different types of premium plans and certain premium features, and the list goes on. Now, if you want to go beyond Google Trends, there are lots of trend spotting websites out there that you can pay for, and the prices are all over the place. The ones I've heard the most about are Exploding Topics, which reminds me of the game Exploding Kittens, which is a good game, Trendly, and Trend Watching. And if there are other trend spotting websites you use that you really like, put them in the comments because we can all really learn from each other. I will also say that if you already have a social listening tool, like for instance, I use Mentionlytics, you can leverage it to report to you not only what people are saying about you or your competitors, but also what is the main talk going on in your industry. For instance, Mentionlytics shows me that lead generation is a huge topic about LinkedIn. And when I click on lead generation, I can automatically see what's been posted about lead generation in order of most engagement, so I can see what my audience is most interested in. Now, trends are great, but there are lots of other educational posts we can do. For instance, think about the questions you get all the time. And I'm not talking about questions about your particular products or services, but questions about your industry in general. Questions I get all the time. Should I post the same content across my social media? How long should a post be? Should I use hashtags? And lots and lots more. And I'm thankful for it because that's how I have a job. So for you, keep a running list of the questions that you get, and each question with its answer could be a post. Now, not to sound mean, but what about all the really stupid things that people assume in your industry that you know are not true? These are myths that you can debunk in posts. One myth to debunk per post. Or what about sharing a personal story that teaches a lesson in your industry? And if you're like,
I'm not doing a personal story, la la la, I can't hear you, no.
Just hear me out. I mean, obviously you don't want to make your story about two completely unrelated things. Like, just had the most amazing tuna sandwich and it got me thinking about conversion tracking and LinkedIn ad campaigns. Yeah. But here's something that did happen to me recently that could be a post. I just had a timeshare nightmare that made me think about what not to do with LinkedIn marketing. My husband and I recently agreed to a timeshare sales pitch in exchange for a 3-day stay at a beautiful resort. At first, we liked Sally, our sales rep. She seemed to really care. But after 2 hours of what felt like a never-ending sales pitch, Sally's true colors came through. Every time we said no, like about 10 times, she became increasingly condescending. Like, how stupid were we to decline her offer? Finally, we broke away, and we made a pact to never work with Sally again. And then I offer these LinkedIn marketing takeaways. Focus on what your audience wants, build relationships, not transactions, be consistent with your brand's personality, because Sally was two-faced. I mean, and clearly her name wasn't Sally, it was Allie. And if you can't think of your own personal story, which you can, it's in you, okay? You have stories, okay? But if it's just not coming out, then share someone else's story with their permission, because the world has stories. Or share an interesting insight from a book you just read. You can also talk about a cool event you attended and what you learned from it, or an event that's coming up that they would really enjoy too. You can also do a straight out post about tips and tricks. I really like this post from Richard Vanderblom, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, about 5 underrated tips for successful outreach on LinkedIn. You can also share stats in your industry. For example, I could share something like, did you know that PDF carousels generate 5 times more engagement than any other kind of post? And then I could complete the post by encouraging people to give PDF carousels a try or offer tips on how to get started. You can also give an opinion with something in your industry. And by the way, the LinkedIn algorithm loves opinions. And if you want extra credit, challenge the status quo, because that'll get people talking. Like, for instance, one of my LinkedIn colleagues, Michael Marr, recently wrote a post that challenged whether or not we really need hashtags on LinkedIn. And that post piqued a lot of people's curiosity. Or do a post that predicts the future on something in your industry. And remember, you can always repost someone else's post and then offer your own insight at the top. I mean, you don't want to do that exclusively, but at least it gets the momentum going. Okay, so we talked about educational posts. Now let's talk about self-promotional posts, which should not be more than 20% of your content. I mean, yes, sometimes we do need to remind people that we are in a business and we sell things that could help them. But if we remind people of that too often, the walls go up. And remember that a self-promotional post does not have to be hard sell, like buy now. It could be something more soft sell that boosts brand awareness and trust. And really, soft sell does a whole lot better on LinkedIn anyway. Okay, so here are some good self-promotional ideas. The first is to share a customer success story. Now you could say who the customer is or keep them anonymous. It just depends on what your customer is okay with. But the point of this type of post is to show the before and after in working with you. What did your customer struggle with before working with you, and where are they now? And that before and after is a story, and people love stories. And obviously, if there's a lesson that your customer learned that other people can learn too, feel free to put that in the post. But most of all, celebrate your customer's success. Or why not post a customer testimonial? The best testimonials also show a before and an after. Now, it'd be preferable if you got this testimonial in video format, like your customer shoots it on their phone and then just sends you the file and you work with that. But if you have a written testimonial from them, that'll work too. You can put it in a graphic and make that the post. And similar to the customer success story is the customer spotlight. Now, this is a little different because you're only parenthetically mentioning that they're a client, but really the post focuses on just how great this business is or the person is, or you're kind of just giving them a shout out and just celebrating them for who they are. Your customers will love it and your audience will see that you really do care. Or you can show off your own company culture, and there are different ways to do that. One of the most successful ways is to do a team member spotlight. You write a paragraph about what they do at your company, some things about them outside of work, how much you appreciate them, and then have a photo of them. And obviously this is only going to work with your team members who are not camera shy. You can also share your company culture by talking about some really cool teamwork going on or fun at the office. Don't you wish all work was like this? But again, it's all for humanizing your brand because people want to buy from people. And as your business grows, post a job opening or highlight one of your products or services and make it clear what pain point your customer has that your product or service solves. Or share a recent win, like did you earn an award or certification? Did you land a cool contract that you can talk about publicly? Or share something you just appreciate right now. It could be a particular client you're working with or a colleague in your industry or something cool going on with your job. And this isn't 100% self-promotional, but it's bringing people into your world. Now, if you are squeamish about this whole self-promotion thing, I get it. I'm the same way. I feel way more comfortable just educating people than talking about myself. But what you can do is in your educational posts, you can end some of those with 1 or 2 lines of self-promotion. Like, did you find this helpful? Contact me to learn more, that type of thing. Okay, so now we're gonna move from topics to formats. In other words, how do you deliver the message? Now, when I show you these formats, which have varying levels of success, what I don't want you to do is take the top 2 performing types of formats and say, that's it, I'm just gonna do those 2 because those are the ones that perform the best. Because then all of your posts are looking the same. And that can end up boring your audience. So really try to mix things up. Now, if there's a certain type of format, you're like, there is just no way I'm gonna do this because if I did it, my head would explode. I get it. It's okay if you skip a format or 2. There are different ways to win on LinkedIn. So here are the formats, and starting with the most engaging, it's PDF carousels. Now, technically, these are not carousels. LinkedIn calls them documents, but come on, they look like carousels, and that's what people call them, and I'm gonna keep on calling them that. I don't care. I also have a whole video that shows you how to create a PDF carousel, not just from a technical standpoint, but how to strategize it, and I'll put a link in the description. Also working really well are text posts, especially if they have an image, plus native video, in other words, video that's uploaded directly to LinkedIn. But make sure your video has captions because most people are on social media with the sound off. Now, the category of formats that get pretty good engagement are newsletters, followed by articles and polls. And finally, in the not great category are posts that include an external link, mainly because LinkedIn doesn't like it as much when you direct people off of LinkedIn. I get that. Now, I will say I still do a lot of external link posts only because they are super easy to do. I find an article I want to share, I write a little caption, and it's done. Because if a post is easy, I can stay consistent, and consistency is huge in social media. And then there are posts that have multiple images, like this. Please avoid them if you can. When you have multiple images, you're giving your audience too many things to process at one time. The human brain prefers one single striking image. So choose your best image and let that shine. And once you've nailed down your topics and your formats, you probably want to know when are the best times to post on LinkedIn so more people see the posts that you took the time to create. So check out this video in the top right corner. In terms of the best posting times, the answer might surprise you. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.